Never wanted to be a model, had a really successful career, owned real estate at the time, like felt like I had like a really good foundation because I never spent my money on anything. God came down and was like, Bumpsuit, you're going to do this line in 2 months.
What was the most shocking for you when you came into fashion? Did you be like, oh my God, so this is how it works?
A lot of money. They say you've got this like hundreds of thousands of dollars contract, which they don't actually give you. When I think about like my daughters going into modeling, I always say no.
What we went through, it's so much bigger and deeper.
What I've learned from going to, from like this like glamorous, like supermodel life where there's no line and you don't pay for anything. And
thank you for creating something so amazing.
Welcome to the extra stage, Nicole. Mm-hmm. You're a model, entrepreneur, and founder and CEO of Bumpsuit, right? Mm-hmm. Did I miss anything?
Sounds so like professional when you say it.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank
we
you for
already
having
chatted
me.
for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. We did the podcast everyone wants to hear, like back in the other room.
Backstage, but there's some things we can't talk about on this podcast.
Yeah.
So we want to start from very beginning because I know you for many years. And for me, I feel like when I was starting modeling, you were kind of finishing because, you know, you had kids earlier than all of the girls that modeled with us. Tell me if I'm wrong. But
no,
I think
it's true. Yeah.
You know, you had them earlier than all of us.
Yeah.
Until we got our shit together, basically. You were kind of like chop chop. I know how life works, which is great. I think it's a great thing. But
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you started and how you got into modeling.
Yeah.
Before we proceed to what do you do now?
Well, it's so interesting that you like saw that, because the reason that I had kids so early is because of the way I got into modeling and not really wanting, I never really wanted to do it. It was kind of like handed to me in a very direct way, and I didn't really have much of a choice. My friends like entered me into this like modeling competition without me knowing, or this woman knew about who I was or something like that. I come from the bush in the middle of nowhere.
That's what I read about it, yeah.
Yeah.
In Australia.
Yes. And this woman kind of like scouted me, and she knew who I was, and she wanted me to do this modeling thing. But I grew up, you know, being like picked on at school for being skinny and like...
Not blonde.
Yeah, like I'm like this Italian, like weird looking, wore my hair really strange because my mom was a hairdresser. And yeah.
Your dad was Italian and your mom was Australian,
yes,
right?
English, Irish, French, but a hairdresser. I used to get picked on at school because I was like so gangly. I think a lot of us models were like really gangly. I used to eat like 2 bowls of spaghetti at my nana and nono's house because they'd be like, you don't eat.
Yeah.
Just to prove that like this is actually genetic. It's not.
I used to wear like 3 pairs of pants because, you know, I'm from Belarus and it would be so cold, and I would wear like all these pants just to look a little bit like less skinny, you know?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, for sure.
Like just to think of a child going through that. Like I used to wish on a wishing well or a wish trip that I would be fat.
For sure, yeah.
Like how crazy is that?
It's crazy, especially at that age when you're just developing, that it's already put into you that you have to be a certain way and you're not, so you feel like outsider.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I remember my mom saying something to me when I was younger. She probably can't remember this, but it's interesting how when you're a kid, certain things affect you and they inform your life, right?
For sure.
There's things that people say or do that like really kind of shape and mold you. My mom said to me, women hate me because I'm skinny. It was like a throwaway line, like they're just jealous. And I was like, at that age, I remember going, oh my God, if I'm skinny, women are going to hate me. So I used to wish that I was fat, and I used to eat a lot.
That's crazy.
And it didn't do anything, but
which led to a contest.
Well, which actually, that was the reason why I didn't want to be a model either, because with the bullying at school and, you know, just not being able to figure it out, I was like, well, this is going to be so much worse. Like, why would I ever want to do that?
Like even more
There's
of the
no
bullying.
way. Yeah. But it was actually the complete opposite.
Yeah.
It was all girls that were like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So when I started, I was like, I'm home in a way.
Yeah.
This is like, feels calm for
How old
me.
were you at that age?
I was 15, I think.
Wow.
That's young, yeah.
So I accidentally like won this competition in Australia.
What was the name of it?
It was called Search for a Supermodel. It was before reality TV, guys. I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
not that young. I won this competition, and my parents like signed something because they were my guardians, which meant that I had to go to the world competition. At this point, like I come from a poor family.
Yeah.
I'm a straight A student. I look at the top of the list, like what's the highest earning job? Because my parents would argue over money, and I was like, I never want to argue over money. That was my drive to make money, not to argue. It's funny, then you get money and you still argue over money. You know, it's like,
And more money, more
money's
problems.
the devil.
What is your
Exactly.
drive now?
It's the money's the devil. So I looked at the top of the list and it said lawyer. And I remember thinking like, I love fighting for what I believe in. And I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to do family law because I really love family. Like that was my thing, is my thing. And so then this like competition came around, and then they're like, you have to move, like go overseas for this competition. Because
Where
your
was it
parents-
planned?
It was in the competition was called Ford Supermodel of the World.
So that was a huge one, though,
Yeah.
at that time.
So you're going into this
Yeah.
competition, 15, 16, about to be 16. You know, 74 countries, overseas for the first time. This is a girl that like wanted to marry my first boyfriend and like never leave Australia.
Wow.
Office job, like I remember filling out the thing, do you want to work indoors or outdoors? I was like, indoors, office job. Marry my first boyfriend, not leave the country, no desire to travel.
Wow.
And so I'm here with my mom, and I come runners up in this competition,
So the second, wow.
which is wild because
out of
now
74.
they're like, you have to move to New York,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Wow.
And I'm like, what? I thought this was just meant to be for fun.
I'm like,
I didn't-
literally, look
yeah.
at me.
You're like, it's getting
I
too
was like,
serious.
I was like, haha, it's over. Okay,
Yeah.
let me go back home to my normal
And that was
life.
Ford agency, obviously.
Yes.
That's huge.
And like a lot of money. They say you've got this like hundreds of thousands of dollars contract, which they don't actually give you.
No.
But
You
you
have to
think
work
they're
for
going to
it.
give it to
Yeah.
you. They just promise you'll make that much. And if you gain like 3 pounds or 5 pounds, or if you lose 5 pounds, the contract is null and void.
Yeah.
You know, there's all this stuff in between
I
the
remember
lines.
it was like that back in the
Yes.
days.
So, wow, I've never told this story.
I love it.
Okay. So then I kind of retaliate, and I'm like, I'm not going.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you can't like make me leave. And I felt abandoned by everybody. My parents were like Italian, strict. They wouldn't even let me go to my friends' parties or anything. Like I was a good Catholic girl that had to stay inside.
And they were pushing you to go? Or
They were
fine
like,
as you going?
you can go. And I'm like, you're not
Oh,
letting me
wow.
watch Sex in the City, but you're letting me move to New York.
It's
Like,
interesting. My mom was a little bit the same way, and which I'm like, why did you let me go at like 15 to New York?
Because they
But,
want a
yeah.
better life for us.
I think so.
I think.
The opportunity for sure, like my school principal said, you're a straight A student, and if it doesn't work out, you can come back as a mature age student at 21, which is crazy to think of that too. Like now that I think about all this stuff, I'm like, wow.
Look at my
It's
legs. Like I can't look. I should have worn a different outfit. It's just like,
No,
Wow.
but you know what is a beautiful lesson for parents and people raising children is my dad is the most amazing man and is such an inspiration to me, and I live by his name. He's not with us anymore, but like I live in his honor and his words that he taught me. He turned around to me and he said, Nicole, you have a good head on your shoulders and I trust you. That's why you're going to New York. And so I lived up to that expectation instead of him saying like, don't do this and don't do that. And
Yeah.
like that elite scandal was happening at the time. There was like drugs
I
and
remember
sex and like
that.
all that stuff on the
Yeah.
news. You know, I'm just like coming from Australia, little bush girl. I go there and I really like took that responsibility of, you know, if I'm leaving my family, I'm going to make this worthwhile. and I'm going to be professional, and I'm going to show up, and I'm going to be the hardest working girl. And I know I'm not the most beautiful girl, but I'm going to definitely like be professional and do the best that I can. And I was so lucky, like my career, like the first job I did was Tom Ford for Gucci, and I did the runway, and it was the second last fashion show he did in Milan. And that...
What year was that?
2002 or 3.
So you did start a while
right
earlier.
Yeah,
Before,
it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
So, you know, like, and I think this is all we can talk about my career, because this was a monumental moment. I think back then, like, it was so glamorous modeling, but like when you are on a contract, you're staying in a model apartment with, like, you know, I'm sure you've heard all
For
the
sure,
stories.
we're all there, yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Good old memories.
so like all the bunk beds, and it's like horrible, and you're paying like
Horrible.
so much money for it. You could
Where
totally
is this
just go
money
get your
go?
own apartment for like way less and have
Totally, by
a
the way.
whole apartment.
You paid like 2,000 or 3,000 for like one bunk bed.
In
But you
like,
could
It's
have-
incredible.
exactly.
You could
In
have
a-
just rented your own place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I remember being in Milan and just staying in a hotel that didn't even have a phone. The only phone was at reception. It was called like Hollywood Hotel or something.
Cetadines in Paris, remember?
This was worse. This was like way worse. And I was sharing with a girl, I didn't know her, and she couldn't speak English, and
Was she Russian?
my boyfriend just stopped talking to me. He was like my only link of like stability. He was in Australia. So I couldn't contact him. I think he was probably like with someone else, but I didn't know that because I was so young and naive at that time. And I had to like stand on the toilet to see my outfit. And I remember going to see Tom Ford, and I was wearing like a vintage black slip dress, like a nightgown, like with the lace. And I put like pins in it to like try and alter the design. And I was wearing like stripper boots, I think, or something, like really just whatever I could afford, you know,
Yeah.
from a vintage store. And he booked me in the Gucci show because it was kind of that gothic era.
It was, yeah,
You
that
know?
like sleep.
It was like nightgown angels kind of thing. And overnight, I remember like booking that show and my driver driving me to like the Principe de Savoia in Milan.
Principe.
And I like went to a new hotel. You know, all the big models were staying there. I got a new driver. I got like booked for every show without even going to, you don't have to go to any castings anymore. When Tom Ford
Well,
speaks.
because it's like one casting director probably for
Or like when you
everything
do
else.
that big of a shot, that's
For
time, I
sure,
feel
yeah.
like.
When
Tom
I
Ford
think
is
when
like-
Tom Ford, he was choosing, it was probably before your time,
It was
but he
before.
chose one new girl in the season.
So
And if
you were
you're
the
the
girl.
new girl, then like people were canceling the 14th girl from every show and putting me in. Like I was
Wow.
like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And were you still 15 at that time?
Yeah.
I was 17. by then.
17.
I was 17, and
That's
I
so
remember
young.
Karl Lagerfeld like then casted me for Fendi, and I didn't know who he was at that time. I was wearing like bright pink acid wash jeans with like a
Nice.
Harley Davidson
Oof,
shirt,
yeah.
and I was like running, and he was like, Maria Carla, Maria Carla.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh no, I'm not Maria Carla. I'm Nicole from Australia. It's great to meet you. And I was like, what's your name? Like this.
Maria
you
Carla,
know.
by the way, still walks
She's
every
my
show in the
favorite.
planet.
I love her.
She's great.
But wait, I,
I
love
love
that
her.
you didn't know who's Karl Lagerfeld.
But
I love it.
I go, I'm Nicole from Australia, mate, you know. And I was like, what's your name? And he goes, I don't have a name. And then Amanda was with him, and she goes, I'm Amanda, it's so nice to meet you. And I go inside and I tell the girls, and they're like, that was Karl. They're like, you're gonna get cancelled from the show. You need to go home and get dressed and come back. Da, da, da. I was like crying. I was like, oh my God. And then I went to the Versace. They did like a rehearsal. It went for like 5 hours because the shoes didn't come. And it was like 200-meter long runway, blah, blah, blah. And then I went back to see Karl for my fitting at 6 a.m. And the show call time was at 8, and I was the new girl. So you have to be there on time.
For sure.
And I knew I was getting cancelled, right?
So you did.
I changed my outfit. I showed up for the fitting. He fit me. He didn't really say much. And he's like, Nicole from Australia, right? And I was like, like thinking he's going to cancel me like any second. And he didn't.
Yeah.
And I did the show.
I wouldn't think he would.
And then I shot with him like a few times, did his campaign.
Because you're stuck in his head, like that. These kind of moments, I think, in fashion,
I think
like
so.
completely change I have similar story with Dolce & Gabbana. There's this casting director. Fortunately, I can't remember his name right now, but
Yes,
I went
you
to
can.
his apartment. No, I can't. He was like a short, bald guy.
Okay.
He was like, he's not like someone who was like all the time casting. But I remember I was like, one of my first times in Milan, I go to the casting. They're like, oh, go see this guy at his apartment.
Oh,
I walk
wait,
in,
did he have like all animals?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh my
so
God.
see? What's
yeah,
his
and
name?
he cast for Dolce & Gabbana.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like Pierre
'Cause he
or
was like-
Pietro.
oh, yeah. Pierre.
Pietro or...
You're thinking of
I
Pier
know who-
Giorgio, no?
I know who you're thinking.
So I walk in the apartment and I see stuffed animals everywhere. And my
Yes.
first thing I say, I'm like, oh my God, look at these animals. Like, it just came out of my mouth. And he's like, huh, can I see your book? And I like showed him my book. And I was like, so how's your day? Like trying to like
Make it
change,
better.
make it better. And he's like, okay, thank you, bye. And I was like, oh my God, I completely messed this up. And he somehow still hired me for the show. And that was
Yeah.
kind of as well beginning for me. But it's so funny. So I relate to your story.
Yeah, I got very lucky. I
You
have to
very
say.
his type, though.
And you did
like
Chanel
dark
too,
with
no?
I did
whiters.
Chanel a lot. I think Karl was really into Australians, and I love Chanel. It's like the brand that I love. He like really instilled that love for the brand. And Letitia, who did all the jewelry for Chanel, I love her so
Oh
much.
my God, I love her. She's so funny.
She's the best, and I just love that whole establishment. And you know, it was really cool for me. I didn't want to be a model. I did my best, and I definitely overachieved and went like far beyond. Like I would research Italian Vogue. I would look for all the photographers, art directors, stylists. I was like, if I'm going to be away from my family, I have to make this worthwhile. So I did, you know, extra, and I really respected the industry. But at the same time, I was looking for like going to school. I was studying like sociology. I was studying 20th century literature.
Like
I was
online?
studying film. I went to the New School.
In New York?
Yeah, because I didn't finish high school, so I couldn't go to like a college and get like degrees. I studied acting for a really long time, film. I just have, and I think that's like my blessing and my curse is like I'm so curious to learn more. I think like once I'm done with whatever I'm doing now, I'm going to do something. I'll just never stop, you know. I
You-
want to
you
learn how to
seem
become
like
a
that.
sculpture artist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's a problem sometimes. But yeah, so I was like studying, and I also really, and I think for all of us, like we had the best school, fashion school.
For sure.
Seeing how fashion houses are run, seeing how design is like from A to Z, like to on the runway, seeing how all those operations take place, and like the marketing of them, like being behind the scenes of a photo shoot, seeing the art director, what are they doing, what are they
Yeah, that's a
looking for?
huge school. You
It's-
cannot learn that just going to San Martin. Like I feel what we went through, it's so much bigger and deeper and
Life school.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's valuable.
So many
like
years too,
the
yeah.
countries we visited, the cultures.
What was the most shocking for you when you came into fashion? Did you be like, oh my God, so this is how it works?
I think what was the most shocking and still is for me is like the people that surround the industry that are like really dark.
it's I was just gonna say that it's just so intense sometimes and like scary almost, like how
Yeah.
they like bring you down and like all the you're like, oh my gosh, like take me
Yeah.
out of this, please.
Yeah, there's a lot of like wolves or like parasites or just people that are like
sure.
ready to pounce on you when you're like fresh off the boat.
Exactly. Which
And
is crazy, right?
so
Because they're so much older than you in a way, and they have already their life. You would think they would be kinder to someone
Yeah.
who is so young, but the darkness.
That's the thing in the world that like I think needs a lot of light shone on it, and I think that there is darkness in the world, and I think we need to do everything we can to spread light in the world.
Is that why you wanted to finish modeling so soon and start a family?
No,
or-
I don't
no?
think so. I think that like
But you
that's,
enjoyed it,
I think
right?
that's everywhere. That,
Yeah.
but like those people, yeah, like I think created a lot of trauma for me. And when I think about like my daughters going into modeling, I always say no. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a boy, so it's a bit different. I almost feel like for boys, it's way different, this industry. I think they should do sports. That's just my honest opinion.
It's not very LA of you, babe.
I think modeling is like the only industry where women get paid more than men, right?
I would still say no for my daughters. What I went through, I mean, we all did. I feel like there's some things that I can't share, like ever, with anyone.
I feel the same way.
And I know this was my heart, and I'm like, there's no way I want my daughter to go through it.
Yeah.
What I went through it.
But there's one thing that we have that maybe like we didn't then is like we have that experience, so we know how to protect them, because my parents couldn't from far away.
Didn't know.
And I don't know if like other people surrounding the industry really knew either, you know?
Yeah.
Like why don't the agents, you know, do more, or like the chaperones that are in the
For
model
sure.
houses.
For sure,
you
yeah.
know?
So
I was
true.
safer in my own apartment than in a model house.
It is so crazy. Like, how are we alive? You know, some moments I'm like, what?
Yeah.
How did I make it out?
Yeah, I think
know?
about that.
sure.
I'm so grateful, just like being able to sit here today on the other side of all of it as a mature woman, because we were so young.
So young. And
You
just
don't know
like,
anything.
Alone. No money.
Yeah, you're trying to figure it out. You're naive. You're like making bad decisions and just like
Definitely
trying
a lot
to
of bad
survive.
It really
decisions.
shapes you up for today, right? Like all that experience you went through at that age. Think about it,
Yes.
we're all so young, and you go through this crazy experience and you're alone so far. And it's
Yes.
like so many lessons to learn.
So many lessons.
Definitely made us stronger.
It definitely makes you stronger, but also like I really appreciate like simplicity and the simple life. Like I live in the country now on a ranch. I don't know. I really appreciate.
I feel the same, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm like, I can't go to any events anymore in my whole life. you
Yeah.
know? I just want to
You're like, I'm happy in Aspen.
I'm happy
good."
in Aspen with my mountains and
Yes.
you know,
Yeah. That's the best.
occasional trips to LA or whatever. But
Yeah.
so to continue the conversation with you, you modeled for how many years?
Oh my gosh. I like I said, it's so funny. I still do things like every now and then.
Yeah.
If they make sense.
But when
So,
you started having your kids,
16, so I'm turning 38 like in a few days. Same birthday
so
as
you
your
have
mom.
the same birthday as like my mom on
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
It's crazy. I was you know reading about you a lot today, and I was
saw
like,
it
wait,
too.
I was like,
Yeah.
you have the same birthday like my mom.
Yes, I feel like we've had that conversation before.
I
when you
don't think
said it. Or
so.
maybe it was like serendipitous or something.
Maybe.
Deja vu.
Maybe it's deja vu for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we did. I
Yeah.
don't think I ever like Googled you because I
I-
know you know.
Yeah.
But because
It's
today I
a
kind
weird
of had to Google you a little bit. Sorry, I'm like, wait, what's she saying?
Google doesn't know anything really about anyone. It's all like
No,
right?
but you know, just the facts.
Yeah,
of where
totally.
You're born,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like your parents,
Yeah.
and all that. So you do feel more Italian than Australian, you think?
I
Because
think-
you're cook, you like very family oriented.
So true. All the
Like,
what
what-
Italians are
What
about.
do you not do? You know.
So I grew up in Australia and my whole family is Italian.
So your mom is Italian too.
My mom is not, but we grew up on my dad's side of Australia.
Got
My
it,
mom's
okay.
side was the other side.
Okay,
And
okay,
so he
okay.
had like 9 brothers, 2 sisters.
So very Italian.
You know, Italian. We did
Very.
sausage weekend. We made salami. We made red wine. We
Is
made
that what
tomato
shaped
sauce.
you being such
It
a
was
great
the
cook
whole-
and having your TV show about it?
Maybe my
Your
husband
TV
really wanted me to do that.
Okay.
I love cooking.
So cool.
Cooking is like my piece.
My image of you when you had your 3rd baby, and I was like having my first because she's 4. And I'm like, I just had a baby. Everyone have to serve me, right? Because like I just did it. And you're just like, was your 3rd baby, like one day after delivery,
No,
cooking
it
and
wasn't
clean and doing the dishes. And I was
No.
like, wait, I'm doing something wrong. She's
No.
like cooking and doing dishes with baby in her
So,
carrier.
Nicole, what's your secret? Tell us.
Don't believe. First of all, I believe in the Ayurvedic way, and
Okay.
you have to stay in bed for 2 weeks after you have
Okay.
a baby. You're not really allowed to get out.
Okay.
So I definitely did that. I had an Ayurvedic postpartum doula.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my husband, you know, I don't have any family in Austin. And my husband's really busy. He's like a touring musician, and we live like on a ranch. I think like it's a challenge for me, and I need a challenge, and I love a challenge because my brain is like over producing. It's like overactive. So like I just see all these like hardships as like, what can I learn here? Like, how can I attack this? Like, how can I beat this? Because I don't want to let this beat me, kind of thing.
That's crazy.
And that's
Wow.
just like how I attack everything really in life is like, what is here for me to learn? Not like this is hard.
That's crazy. I'm gonna go do shit now.
So how
If you feel like it, if you don't, like my husband's like, you need to sit down.
do you
Like
ever
it's,
relax?
it's interesting because I married the guy that doesn't want me to cook, you know.
Why
he
he
doesn't
doesn't
want me
want
to
you
do
to
his
cook?
laundry. He doesn't want me to cook. He just wants me to like chill. And
Does he cook?
I'm like, I'm cooking. No, he's so like,
Chill.
when I even think of him, I just like want to breathe in and like breathe out and be like, cool.
How did you
He's
guys
like
meet?
the coolest guy. Like there's no one cooler. I don't know. I've never met anyone cooler, and I've met a lot of people in my life.
Can you tell us how did you meet him?
Through friends, we got like set up.
Oh, you got set up?
Yeah.
Blind date?
No, they like told him that I was into him, and they told him that me
Stop.
that and we
They played it.
weren't saying that about each other at all. Like at
Oh,
all.
they played you.
Yes,
Oh my
they did for a
gosh.
really long
Didn't
time.
know you're gonna like each other.
I think they thought we'd
They
like
kinda
each
told
other,
you-
but we're
Wow.
so different. My dad was ill.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's everything to me. He had cancer, and he didn't have like much time left. And I like was the only one in my family that didn't have like a full-time career. So I went home and took care of my dad. My mom was having a really hard time with it, so she needed some time. And I looked after my dad, and I decided that he was the only man in my life. And the next man that I was going to like engage with had to be like good enough that was
Yeah.
going to be my husband, and I was going to have kids. So I was like, I'm only engaging if like he's on that like page, and I'm into this guy.
Definitely not a New York guy.
Well, no, and like I met Gary, and I can't even tell you, it was like different. I've never felt that feeling before, and
I'm dying right now.
it was like a force filled. It was just us, and I was like, I really want to cook for you and do your laundry, and I just like, I know you're gonna be the father of my kids, and like I love him, like all of him, like unconditionally, and so I met him and.
Here in LA, in Coachella.
In New York.
In New York. You met
Yeah.
in New York.
He kind of like stumbled into a room and then like sat down by me, and he's so like cool. I can't even tell you. It's crazy. This guy is
You
so
know, your
cool.
eyes are still light up.
No.
How many years together?
I like, yeah, that's the thing. We've been together for like, I don't know, like 11, 12 years, and I sleep next to the guy, and I'm still like, he's such a mystery to me. Never wanted to be a model, had a really successful career, owned real estate at the time, like felt like I had like a really good foundation because I never spent my money on anything. I would walk around in like metal militia sweaters, which is like a dirt bike racing
Yeah.
company, slippers, and like I was so low key. I didn't buy bags or anything.
That's so smart.
I
That
invested
was
in
not
real
me.
estate.
Where did you buy your first real estate?
I bought an apartment in New York, and I bought 2 properties in Australia, one for my grandparents and one piece of land.
Amazing.
But my dad made me do all of this.
Nice.
And
Wow.
and for my brothers and sisters the same.
Great.
Like he taught us how to do that because they
Yeah.
were poor and they built wealth through real estate,
They don't want you to be poor.
which they don't teach kids.
Yeah.
Everyone
Just-
rents, right? So that's like a huge thing for me. I love real estate. It's my favorite thing. It's a solid
love real
investment,
estate too.
especially he was always like, buy the worst house in the best neighborhood. And that's
Which area did you buy?
Nolita.
Nice.
So nice. Do you still
Yeah.
have it?
Yes, I do.
No way.
Yes.
Where in Alida
That's
exactly?
Prince and Elizabeth.
Wait, where Sal lives?
No, just like down the road.
It's like right in the heart.
springing
That's
it with
amazing.
Pretty much where Sal lives, like
Oh,
across
pretty
the road.
much
We were
there.
neighbors. I
Yeah.
never saw him though, but we were neighbors.
Nicole, this is amazing.
But like this is like, you know, I didn't spend any money because I didn't want the money in the first place. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to do something smart, right? Anyway, so at that point when I meet my husband, I was just like, I told him, I was like, I really want to have kids and I want to get married.
That's
and
crazy.
That's
At
where I'm at.
25, you knew what you wanted.
I was done. Like I'd had 10 years in New York already.
crazy.
You know, I had
Yeah.
like a successful career.
Yeah.
I was doing something I didn't want to do as well. Remember that.
Yeah.
I was studying at the same time. I tried to do music for a little bit. Then I met my husband and I was like, I'm not touching a musical instrument because he's like
he's
literally the
just
most
so good,
talented.
yeah.
Like I had a piano in my house. He's like, oh, I don't know how to play piano. And then he's like, I'm never fucking touching that thing ever again. Thank you. But like, yeah, he was felt, and I think women need stability to feel that from a man, and wisdom. And out of every man that I have met, he felt like the most stable to me and the wisest. I've learned so much from him.
That's
I'm gonna
crazy.
ask you because
100%.
you're Australian. He's American. I
Yes.
assume. So how was it for you to come to US to marry someone here? Was it like, you know, because it's completely different continent. Was like, did you love America from the first time you got here, or like came slowly to you, or did you knew that's a place you want to be?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because for some reason, yes, I knew I was going to stay here. I still don't really know why. I ask myself that all the time. My dad was like, you can't marry an American because, you know, then you can't come home if you have a baby. You can't, it's harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he always like wanted me to come home, you know.
Australia
that was
is
really
also
hard.
great.
It's amazing. But now they get
Amazing.
dual citizenship. So
I know.
next time we got pregnant, I had a miscarriage, and then it was like not planned. And then I was like, I really want to have a baby. It was like really devastating when you have a miscarriage.
For sure it is.
It's so devastating until you really hear about women that have had that experience.
So
And
many.
it's normal.
Everyone
it's like the
has it.
body's process.
Yeah.
And I remember us being devastated, but we weren't ready for that anyway. And then I had an ovarian cyst, and then that really scared me. And then I decided, like, you know, we're quite traditional, so we wanted to get married first, but
Your wedding was so
I
gorgeous.
really just wanted a baby.
Yeah.
And he was always away, and I was like, it's going to be my little homie when you're away. And we decided to have a baby, and we had Zion, and I moved to Texas, and I was just... I would like to say like it was all so amazing, but it's not. It's so hard.
So hard.
Your emotions are just like so wild, and I always look back at that time and I'm like, I don't know how my husband like stayed with me.
And you're
Level.
like
That-
so emotional that you don't even see yourself from
You don't
it just
at all.
at least for me it hit me. I think Axel was a year and a half, and one day I was like, after Pilates I was like, oh my god, I'm back to normal. It's like I just landed. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm coming back. you
And
know?
how long was that after?
Year and a half.
A year.
Takes, like,
That's
2
that's
years.
actually quite quick, I
It's
think.
quick, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But it's for sure it's a whole journey. It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Having a kid, it's
It is.
And I feel like, you know, like that's what we were just talking about backstage. Like some girls, I see the couple of friends of mine, when they like break up like 2-3 months after having kids.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's tough.
no, please stay together.
Yeah.
It's not you or him. It's just the
Yes.
baby just puts so much strain on your relationships. It's
Yeah.
crazy, you know? And I feel like once you like come out of that 2-year, 3-year mark, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe we don't hate each other. Like
Yeah.
maybe like
Yeah.
I'm not a psycho, or like, you know, it's
Yeah.
just it's all over the
It's a
place.
lot. It's like your body, like, man, the hormones are so crazy.
Crazy.
And like it's primal. It's not like it's us or the baby. It's literally like your body is set up for this baby's survival, right? So like your senses change, like you're heightened, your awareness. You don't sleep properly because your senses are like listening for the baby. You're feeding 3 times a night, or if you can. I mean, there has to be a lot more like forgiveness and nurturing around women in the postpartum period. It's so important. I think it's like a trimester that's like forgotten.
Forgotten.
Like
Yeah.
the 4th trimester, the
Fourth, yeah.
postpartum period is the most important period.
Yeah.
Like we're really focusing on it at Bumpsuit too.
Yeah.
But like when we talk about, you know, just, you know, that period, and the man I think also is like capable of staying because he's got those like testosterone or
Testosterone.
like whatever's flowing through him, he's also got that primal protection. Like he needs to protect his baby and his wife or partner. And I think like we were talking about it before, the seasons of life, they can go for quite some time, you know. It doesn't just have to be like days, like we're fighting, we're not fighting. It
For
could
sure,
be like
yeah.
years of like, this was the spring, and
Yeah.
then comes the winter, and it might last like 2 years or 10 years, and then, you get through that. And I'm such a big believer in sticking with things, anything, because I think the longer you stick with something, you can learn so much if you look for the learning.
The more effort you put into it.
Yeah, there's a lot there for us. If we run away from things or if we like quit, then we might be missing opportunities to learn. And granted, like if it's a toxic situation and there's like drugs or alcohol involved or like someone's abusive, like that's
then run
different.
for a hill. It's different, yeah.
Yeah, or, you know, maybe not. Maybe there's learning there too. I'm not like an expert, but I do believe like just patience is a really beautiful like virtue to have with life and with people. Yeah. I don't think anyone has like malintent. I think there's some pain behind that, or some triggers or some history that could be explored. And I think your partner is the best person to explore it with. So really just trying to be vulnerable and like digging deep and being like, this is me and this is you. And like, we're just human like everybody else. Yeah. You know, just really humanizing and normalizing these experiences.
And also as like individuals, we also go through like our shit, you know? And then you like go through different shit together, you know?
Yeah.
It's like just...
It's complex.
Like we talked backstage and you mentioned very strong word, how it's almost like people are glamorizing that time when woman gives birth. And like it's a lot of challenges, lots of ups and downs. And I just like what you just said all about that time, that like really people should give time to each other.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. All of us, wherever we're all at. Like it's awesome to be able to like sit with you guys and like even talk about this in this day and age and connect like this. Like it's really special.
I like really didn't see you for 10 years.
But it doesn't feel like it. And you still look the same.
You still look the same.
No.
Okay, so
thank you.
I want to change the topic a little bit.
Okay.
Because you are an inspiration to all of us. I don't know how much you work every day, but I've heard from your good friends that you don't sleep and you work all day, all night, and it obviously shows. But I want to ask you how you like started to start your businesses.
Yes.
You know, how did you? I know you started from your jewelry, and then we go into Bumpsuit, but we want to, you know, talk about that because your first business not always the most successful, right? But you just gotta do something to bring you there. So I want to hear that story.
Someone told me like, if you care about a business, don't make it your first business because your first business is never successful. I'm not sure if that's true.
I've heard that before though.
Yes. I think there's a lot to learn. My dad taught me some really good advice. He told me that you've got to sweep the floor in a company in order to like really run it well, like start from the bottom. So, you know, everyone's job underneath you as you expand your team.
Yeah.
And so like, I also read this book, Good to Great, which I always reference. It's the best book. I've read like Freakonomics and Tipping Point and like all the other ones, but Good to Great has some really strong fundamentals that I think is really good for anyone starting a business. And then there's this great course called Founder as well that I started doing, but then Bumpsuit kind of like superseded the course. And I was like, okay, I got to put this away for now, but I want to go back to it. And I think my brain is like overactive, like way overactive. And I'm like not comfortable just like not creating. I have to create. And I think like if I could, you know, do everything, I would. Like I would have a band, I would be doing acting, I would have a cafe on the beach, I would have like a florist, I would have a cooking show. Like I just wanted to try everything in my life. But, and I, you know, I had this company that I was nurturing that I've never released because Bumpsuit came along. But I think with Bumpsuit, it's just finding, it was a niche that was so needed. Like I had already had 2 pregnancies and I didn't wear maternity clothing because it was so bad. And it's embarrassing to go into a maternity store. Like it makes you feel like Edward Scissorhands. You're like, I'm a project now. And like
It is
my
so
clothes are going to
bad.
be cut up and they're going to look bad. And I'm not going to keep it in my closet after. It's the last thing I want to see. And I was like, how do I redefine this? I'm wearing a bumpsuit right now, right?
I am wearing a
Well,
bumpsuit
all
right
of
now.
us.
There's no
You
like
did that.
extra fabric.
Yeah,
But this
it's
fabric
very
is
stretchy.
So you can
malleable.
wear it when you're not
Exactly.
pregnant. Yeah.
So it's like an investment. But I was wearing something similar to this when I found out I was pregnant. It was like a single layer, and it was like warm weather, but the zip was busted. It had like holes in the butt, and it was like all ripped because it wasn't stretchy. And as my belly grew, it didn't, and it was not like
It
supportive.
didn't grow
you
with
could
you.
see underwear lines. It wasn't double lined, nothing.
You know your bumpsuits, the ones I was wearing when I was pregnant?
Yeah,
So my best friend Masha got pregnant after that, so I gave her all of mine.
yeah.
And then she gave it to our other friend
Really?
after that. So like I saw my girlfriend who's pregnant now, and I'm like, wait, that's mine, right? She's like, yeah, Masha gave me. I'm like, oh my god, like this blue dress was then like it's so funny. It lasted through 3 pregnancies.
Yes.
It's pretty insane.
Well, that's
And
the
I'm
good
so
thing.
scared.
The quality is like you can wash it, looks
Yeah.
the same. But yeah, like I was wearing this onesie and I was wearing it every day, and I just face plant on my bed because I was like breastfeeding and like running a company that I had that wasn't doing great. So it was
Jewelry
like,
one.
Yes. It was doing good, but it wasn't like, I didn't have a big team. It was just me and one other person. I had my like baby and I was pregnant and I had and I was waking up 3 times a night and my husband was on tour and I was like struggling to like hold it together.
Yeah.
And so the bumpsuit that wasn't a bumpsuit yet helped me look put together. I just literally put it on and then I would just change my coat and my boot and my handbag every day and nobody knew that I didn't shower or didn't get dressed. I was just like in the same thing.
Great basic piece. that
And you
can
could
just
sleep in
layer.
it.
Yeah.
Because it's so soft.
It's so soft.
And so
I wear it in Aspen all the time just for like a
For
base
ski-
layer.
Yeah.
I did too. When I was
sure.
just in
I
Aspen.
was wearing it skiing too. So like that, my friend was like, you have to do this. You're keeping this from women. So yeah, so I would go to sleep and my friend was like, you need to make this. And like, it was like a ding moment. The name came into my head. I
How
went
did
home
the
and
name
trademarked it. It just did. I was like, I don't even claim, like it was like God came down and was like, Bumpsuit. You're going
Wow.
to do this line in 2 months because you're 2 months until you have your baby. So I
That's
was like,
crazy.
okay, I'm gonna do this.
So where did you find factory to make it so quick?
So
China?
I had my baby in LA because I had a
Okay.
really crazy like first birth, and so I used Dr. Crane in LA.
Oh,
I had
I
a
read
crazy
about that. I
home
want
birth.
to talk about that too.
Yeah, that's a long ass story though. That could be
Okay.
2.0.
Okay.
I've never told that story. So Dr. Crane and I was in LA and I found this incredible atelier that did like Marquesa, and they
Nice.
made
Oh, wow.
Bumpsuit.
They did?
Yes.
Are they still making it?
I have their head of production and
Yeah.
their head sewer working for Bumpsuit now.
So it's made in LA?
Made in LA, we've now expanded to factories overseas because
Okay.
of how like big it's
Big
grown.
you guys
We
get it?
can't do it.
Yeah.
But
No, I
we
know.
make a lot of it in LA.
Okay.
Like 25% now. So some even like of the same style, you'll see on the
Yeah.
tags, some are made in Los Angeles, some are made overseas.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically I took him into this atelier and I was like, these are the 10 styles that I want to make. She's like, this is easy. You know, she's doing Rodarte and Marquesa.
Yeah. And it's like such a basic.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
We found the fabric, we customized it, we double lined it. And then basically it sold out like as soon as it dropped. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Can I just mention, it was born 2020, right?
2020, COVID.
Yeah.
So she shut down her
everyone was
factory.
pregnant.
Yeah, I was pregnant. That's how I found you.
Exactly,
Because I was at home and I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to be comfortable. Everything hurts me. I'm like uncomfortable. I gained 65 pounds. I was just like not in a good place in that sense.
Yeah.
And nothing was comfortable. I tried a bunch of brands. I'm not going to name them obviously right now, but
Yeah, name that.
everything I tried, it just like didn't feel right in my butt, or like there's always something too tight, like not stretchy enough.
Yeah.
And then I came across to Bumpsuit, and like
Yes.
I was like, this is exactly what I want, like a good basic
Yeah.
with different cuts and shapes. Like I like the dress, and like sometimes I just want to wear cool boots with like a pant style, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just so happy. I was just
It is
so
makes
happy.
you happy. It's so soft.
That-
you
I felt
put it
so
on.
good
so
after. I was like, you know what? It's okay. I have 65 pounds, but I'm like feeling good about myself, you know? I feel that's what it's about, you know? Like it's comfortable and it grows with you. Yeah.
And that energy. Like
And that energy.
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
people to feel really good.
Yeah.
Like pregnant is hard enough, right?
Yeah.
So
And then you
hard.
have to wear
You
these
don't-
like naff
Yeah,
clothes.
you don't
It's like,
wanna
why?
look ugly. Like it's
Or
so
feel
beautiful.
like-
It feel like yeah.
I can't be myself anymore. I have to go buy this like nap dress or something.
Yes.
It's like, why
And
can't
those
we
pants
just...
was just
And then throw it away afterwards. Like,
yeah.
And
we're
now I
all-
still have the same Bumpsuit outfits from 2020 when I was pregnant. I still wear them, and like we're just talking about skiing trip. You know, it's like they're so comfortable.
Oh my God, I
So,
love you.
Yeah, thank you for creating something so amazing.
Is there anything special to the fabric? Is there
Yes,
something?
I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. No.
The secret recipe.
You know what's really
It's
cool?
like butter, you know.
Yeah.
Like if I would have to call it, I would call it like a soft butter because
Buttery
just
soft.
like buttery soft.
It's
That's what it's called.
brushed fabric as well. But we're releasing actually like next week. Yes. We're releasing, so Bumpsuit currently is polyester spandex. We're switching the whole line over to cotton spandex
Stop it. So it's gonna be like
and
even
feel
less.
exactly the same.
Really?
We've achieved it. We've like been developing a new fabric, but it's going to be like all natural fibers. So I still, I mean, I don't like, I love wearing this, but we wanted to also take it to the next level too. So we're launching a Heather Gray collection. Heather Gray Cloud, which we've given you for gifting, is all
nice.
cotton.
Oh, great.
Beautiful. The Cloud collection is insane. And then,
Nice.
so basically, I really just want to create a chic space for women to come for all of their products during this period because it's so precious. And like, why is it ignored? Like, why aren't people paying more attention to like maternity and postpartum? These are like the biggest transitions in a human's life.
I mean, it is pretty crazy that you're
why?
the only one doing it.
It's like, but like there should be a lot more, even from the media. Like it's such a big industry that's just completely overlooked. You know, it's seen as like, it's maternity. It's like maternity. Look how you guys look. Like, and then with
Yeah,
a
you
bump.
don't have to be pregnant.
But also when you are pregnant, you can look good. You can feel good. You can
For
be
sure.
comfortable.
For sure.
And so we've really like, I mean, that's why I don't, like when you talk to my friends and they say that I don't stop working, it's like I'm really trying to innovate this whole industry and like inspire other people to also innovate this industry. The baby carrier that we have, which
Yeah.
is completely
cute.
viral, the armadillo, that
I'm
product.
so jealous I don't have a new baby just so I can wear that.
Me too.
It looks so cute.
It's really cute.
Like I feel like we solved every problem. Like there's a back lumbar, your back doesn't get sore. You can wear this thing for
My
hours.
neck would get sore from like every other one because it would be like so much pressure here, but not like enough. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It was bothering
It's
me.
not balanced.
It's not balanced.
It's not
yeah.
balanced. There's no, like, we have all the pockets, we have the weather cover, we have like, we solved all the problems. There's actually like leg guards that you can move to forward face the
cute.
baby or parent face the baby.
Oh wow.
so smart.
I designed that product. I was like 2.5, 3 years ago. My product developer, Bridget, we sat down together and I was like, this is what it's going to look like. You know how you have an idea in your head?
Yeah.
I swear to you, like this thing looks
Exactly
exactly
like your
And it's
idea.
crazy because usually it never happens that way. There's always like alterations. My husband's always like, what are you drawing? Because my drawings are so bad. And he's like, how did you get that from that? I was like, it was in my head. I just don't know how to like talk about it
Yeah.
or draw it. But the vision is like so clear. So this product, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And by the way, we're doing that with so many products right now for women during that time. We're expanding our
So you're
product
doing
categories.
more. Nice.
So many more. Like all the things you need. Like
I
we're
mean,
not an apparel
mothers
company,
get
really.
overlooked. You're right. Like we get just like.
Is
no
there
one
any
cares.
other exciting product
So
that's
many.
coming out that you can
Oh my
share
gosh,
right now? or-
so many. Oh, I want to, but I can't.
You can, okay.
So many. We're
Tell us.
basically we're gonna do kind of every category for maternity and beyond, postpartum. So like everything. If you can just like use your imagination.
Underwear.
It's like when you're gonna walk in. Can I?
She's
even
guessing.
say this?
She's guessing.
So yes.
She's like, okay, you say
No.
yes or no, or you wink with right.
I don't know.
No, it's okay. We don't
One
need it.
thing.
One thing.
What though? What's gonna drop
thing.
the soonest? And what is no one gonna copy us like in like 2 weeks with like a really cheap product?
Yeah, maybe
if you don't
say
have to,
anything.
you don't say it.
No, don't say it. It'll be a
Like,
surprise.
you don't have
Jen's
to
like,
say.
maybe keep it in. Like this
Don't say it.
campaign that we were about to launch, we
Yeah.
sent it to a bunch of like out of home like advertising agencies, and then we saw it like someone did it.
Oh,
So we
no,
sent it to them
okay.
like 2-3 months ago.
Oh no.
So like I think you have to start like just it sucks because people are very money hungry, so they will copy you and like not be original. But
Okay, can you tell when? Around when is?
Don't tell us
product?
what.
I
Tell
mean,
us
we're
when.
dropping
to look
stuff like we have like a crazy product expansion, like category expansion. So not apparel.
So moving. That's what I was just.
Catherine,
Yeah. I mean, just it's like
Cut
all
me.
things. It's like head to toe, things that you
Nice.
carry, things that you play with.
Okay,
things that
stop. Now you just said everything. You literally just said everything. We'll cut it out.
I think like when I studied
okay.
acting,
Yeah.
I studied with Susan Batson, Nicole Kidman's
Uh-huh.
coach, and she said to me that I have the biggest imagination out of anyone she's ever worked with.
So cool.
And like
You
I can
probably
see
do,
that
by the
now
way.
because
Yeah.
like I'm just like every day I'm like, we got to do this. I think that's my biggest like quality is just vision. I have a vision and like a creative mind, so I can imagine products.
do you
what
think
we need,
business?
you know?
Do you think business-oriented person like you, like who has all these ideas? Do you think you're born that way, or it's something you develop over time, like
Asking
from
for a friend.
experiences in life?
For me.
You know, I think like I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. Like just what I'm doing is not enough to run a business or have a business. You need other people around you. That's why I have her. There's like 3 main people: a manager, an entrepreneur, and an operator. We're
Wow.
like all of those 3 people.
So you got this in the two of you.
I don't move without her. I don't do anything without her. And nobody will ever know who she is. I keep her.
And
You
are
keep
you
her
guys?
undercover. We
Are
know.
you-
We know.
We know how you look now. Are you guys friends from
We're
before?
married. I
You're
think
married.
maybe from a past life.
So you started working. You weren't friends before.
No, we didn't know
Oh.
each other, but we literally like have the same brain. Like we like the same music, we dress the same, we look the same. People are like, I just served you at the checkout, and I was like, no, that's me. And then like
You guys
same
do.
double.
Wow.
You guys do have like the same look, and it's not Australian, by the way. It's not
Yeah.
like blonde.
But
Yeah,
you met in
we're-
Australia?
No, we met on a Zoom during COVID with our cameras turned off, so we
Oh,
had no
wow.
idea.
No way.
What?
Yeah.
Stop it.
But how? Just like work meeting or
Interviewing?
friends?
Yeah, just like interest meeting, and then she started talking, and she's like the most intelligent woman I've ever met, and I was like, what else can you do? I need help. This thing
She's
is
like, can you move to Texas?
Yeah, I was like, what do you think about Texas? She's like, probably not, but for you, maybe, yeah.
I love that.
But I think you need a team around you of people that believe in what you believe in. Any moment that you have someone that challenges you, but not in a good way, because you'll have devil's advocates, right? That will like challenge you and just be like, you know.
Yeah. I totally understand what you mean.
That's
true.
important.
100%.
But if you have somebody that like doesn't believe in what you're doing, you need to remove them like immediately, because like it's like what we're doing is not selfishly for me. It's not for her. It's not for the team. It's like for like the better good of humanity. You know, like what we're doing is we're trying to like shift the perception of maternity and postpartum, offer resources. Like when I talk about our podcast, it's not like it's the podcast is literally a resource for young women that are coming into like pregnancy for the
Motherhood
first
and
time.
pregnancy, yeah.
Because you don't know anything. It's like foreign. So like we're trying to offer like neutral resources. And that's what that is. It's like, even, you know, when I first started Bumpsuit, I was doing all the customer service. I was doing everything. I was fulfilling from my house with a baby in a Moses basket. And my husband was like, you need to sit down.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I feel this like incredible responsibility and purpose, and I have to do this, you know? And we started getting like returns here and there. And the reason was pregnancy loss, right? Because think about it. It's like, doesn't fit or
Stop.
don't like the style or whatever. Here and there, you have returns. Like there's like, 12% return rate or in most companies. But I was Taylor. I was the customer service representative. If anyone got an email from me, like I'm Taylor. Back in the day, because I was doing everything.
Wow.
But I felt this like immense responsibility as well to cater not only for during the time of like pregnancy, but also like taking responsibility for like loss too.
Yeah.
So we created a pregnancy and infant loss awareness retreat, and we brought all these healers into a room. And anytime like someone responds saying like because they don't no longer have the pregnancy, we send them like resources in case they want the support.
Wow.
So we're really trying to build this world around just like supporting women during this time, because it is so isolating and we're not set up like a village or like we, for some of us, we
I
don't
love
have
that
our
name, by the
family.
way. It's a great fucking name.
Yeah.
The
thank
village?
you. Well, it's just that's
Yeah.
we're of service.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to be in the world, is someone of service. And this is
the
how
more you talk to you, the more beautiful you become. It's crazy.
It's so true.
I'm really
I'm
dying
like
right
shaking.
now.
When I talk about stuff I believe in, I start shaking and I'm
And
like
you become more
sweating and I'm like,
beautiful.
"Ah."
It's like
Yeah.
from inside of you, it's
Because you
just
just
like,
shine.
wow.
Guys,
It's incredible.
We're like dying. My life is fulfilled.
Aww.
but I think like, and I just want to reiterate this, is like what I've learned from going from like this like glamorous like supermodel life where there's no line and you don't pay for anything and like, all this money gets thrown at you for doing really very little, and then coming into this and like it's really hard sometimes and it's really challenging, and like being in a marriage and having kids and like all of those mountains that you have to climb every day, it's fucking hard, but it is way better in my opinion than that. And like even being like before being in New York and having paparazzi or whatever, sometimes I really have to say that I think being famous as well is really like overrated, and it's a massive responsibility to have. And I think like all the people out there that look at their life and they're not like an influencer or a famous person, there is so much that you can do like being you, and there's so much influence and impact you can have on the world, like. And it's so beautiful to do like simple things like grow a garden, get chickens,
I
bake a
couldn't
cake for
relate
your
to this
neighbor.
more.
I was
Yeah.
thinking this morning, like when I was in the shower, I always have my ideas in the shower and think in the shower. But lately, what's been like plaguing my mind is like when you say to me, like, you're so busy. I am so busy. I don't get to be a good friend anymore. I don't get to be a good like family member. And I know that it's for a short period of time and it's a season of my life. And I know that like my family are going to understand, and this is like a service. It's like a bigger purpose right now. It's just right now, right? But I think about like what I would really love to do. Like love to do. You guys like what? Just tell
I know,
me.
just tell us.
The suspense is killing me. Like my mother and father-in-law are like starting to find it like hard to just like prepare food for themselves.
Oh, wow.
And that's like something that I really love doing, cooking. And I dream of just like baking a cake and taking it to their house, or like making them dinner, or making them a soup for the week, or making them like a juice. And those acts of kindness in this world are so important, because you can bring light to someone's life in such a massive way and influence how they're going to like that travels like wildfire. And
It
I think
does,
like
yeah.
I'm so busy and I've got like my business and my kids, and I try and do like as much as I possibly can, and I'm definitely at capacity, but like what I desire to do is like acts of kindness for like all of the people around me. Like give. I just want to give, right? And like that's such a privilege to be able to give to people.
Oh.
You know? And I think
Yeah,
that that's
it
like
is.
really, really special and something that should be valued and put on a pedestal. Like if you have the ability to give, or
yeah.
help,
I'll help. I agree.
because some people don't have health, they can't help. Some people don't have means to give.
To give, yeah.
Like that is a privilege, and it should be like not taken lightly in this world. And I think like anyone can do it, you know? Anyone can do that. Like what an amazing thing.
And it comes back to you always, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not like you're doing it for
You know
that.
what? You know what comes back to you though?
Yeah.
Like the feeling that you just
Well,
gave.
exactly. Well,
like that feeling is like.
Well, that's what I mean.
think
It doesn't
the
come back
best
to you,
feeling.
but it's just like your soul, you know?
Yeah.
Like when your soul feels like good. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. So that's something that I really want to do. Like as soon as I.
As soon as never.
But
Just add it to the list.
what do you do now to relax? Do you have anything that, like, I don't know, leave the house, go for a little quick hike, quick walk, or like, is there anything
Yeah,
you
do you
try
do
to
anything for
squeeze in?
yourself?
Yeah.
How
How do you recharge?
I think my drive to work is so long. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. Because we live like so far out of town and my kids go to school like near my office. So it's interesting because a lot of people would be like, I could never do that. That's so far away.
It is so far away.
But for me, it's like you can see the glass half full or the glass half empty, right? In any situation.
But you drive with your kids.
I drive with my kids.
With the three of them in a car.
3 of them in the car, just me and the kids. And I like talk to them.
Yeah.
I look at the countryside, like get to like breathe.
So you like the drive.
I do. We stayed in the city for a little bit, and that 6-minute drive, I was like, man, I'm missing something. Because then it's go, go, go. It's like
Yeah.
6 minutes here, then do this.
Yeah.
And it's like now I have to be patient. And that's like almost a meditation like in itself. And then also sometimes we listen to like Michelle Obama's book and Oprah's book and like Chris Bosh's book, and like into basketball and like LeBron, and you know, we listen to like audiobooks or podcasts. Like I listen to you guys when I'm like driving.
No
I put my
way.
earbud in for the adult stuff, and then
Oh, really?
love
And
that.
you don't forget.
and then the kids listen to the
Oh,
radio or
that's so
something.
cool.
But like I think you can like find positives in
That's how you look
what-
at things.
I think
Yeah.
we're just so lucky. Like I think I just wake up grateful because like all this stuff that's happening in the world right now.
For sure.
It's like, what more could you be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think you're in such a perfect setup, like in terms of like protecting your kids. It seems like very like they're having such a good life, you know? No, 100%.
And good parents. Good
Yeah.
mom. How do you guys manage your relationships with all the work and 3 kids and you being so busy, the both of you? Do you find time for yourself or not right now?
No.
Which is fine if you don't right now.
Yeah,
'cause we're-
like I don't want to like make it seem something that it's not.
Yeah.
There's not much time.
Yeah.
You know, and there's definitely like no date nights or vacations right now.
right
We've done
now,
that.
Yeah.
But like this is a season, and like I think patience is
Yeah.
important, and like acknowledging where you're at. And you know, when you see things on social media and like all these things like are happening with couples and other people,
Yeah.
it's so it makes you feel bad sometimes. But
it also pissed me off. They're like, you have to make sure you do date night and you have to like
Yeah.
switch off. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I can't fucking do this right now because, you know, I don't have help. I only have my mom. Sometimes
Totally.
she comes and goes. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. I want to sleep. You know?
totally.
So,
Totally.
yeah.
And that's what most people are actually feeling. They're just not like
Exactly.
saying that.
Like, I can't go on a date night. I'm sorry.
I love just like, I'm grateful that my husband's like at home when he's home
Exactly,
because he
yeah.
travels so much. And honestly, like even building my business, I think a part of it came out of like loneliness, like feeling that void, you know, not having my friends or my family or anything. Like I needed something, and I found something with purpose. But yeah, like I'm just grateful when my husband's home at night.
Just his
and I
presence.
feel his presence in the house.
I know, that's what I told my husband. I'm like, I just love your presence. You watching TV and I'm making you tea. It
Yes.
just like makes me happy. You know?
Simple. It's like it I think energetically, like
Yeah.
I feel safe when he's there.
When he's just present in a house.
Or when like your family's together as a unit. I think that's something like if you get the privilege again
privilege
of
of-
being able to
yeah.
be together as a unit, like you don't have to be going to Disneyland. You don't have to be going to the fanciest restaurant. You can just like experience each other and like witness each other and like connect, like look at each other in the eyes.
Exactly.
I remember my parents were so stressed out about money and busy, and my mom had 4 kids and she was a badass and awesome, but she was so busy and so like tired that I don't remember her like looking at me in the eyes and being like, hi, like how are you today?
She was stressed.
You know, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are like that. So just like taking a moment to like look at your children in their eyes and like acknowledge that they're like there is like powerful.
I'm gonna cry.
Give them a
Even your
hug. I
husband,
know.
like just like sometimes my husband says this thing where he's like words sometimes like they get in the way,
Yeah.
you know, because it's our like my analytical brain. I'm the most annoying wife because I like need to understand and know everything
Yeah.
about everything, and my husband's like so chill. He's like, are you talking again?
Talking again.
He started he's like, what did you say? Started doing that a lot. But I think you can talk to somebody like without talking to them, especially like your husband, because words can sometimes be cutting and like triggering and
I agree.
confrontational. And I think sometimes like just not talking
Presence, good
can
vibes,
be good sometimes.
good energy.
Mhm. Too.
I'm like bawling.
I know.
No, it's for sure. It hit home. Just that what you said about mom looking in, parent just looking in
Yeah.
kids' eye and just acknowledging. You know, I grew up with. I lost my dad when I was 6, and like my mom was
Oh, I'm
struggling so much.
sorry.
And then left with the newborn, my brother, and I was 5 years old.
Oh
and
my
just
gosh.
she was hustling, and just like seeing that, you know, I became like her right hand man, watching my brother and helping
Yeah.
her with my brother. I think I just missed that a lot, you know, from my mom to just like be like, hey, it's okay, you know, just like having
Yeah,
that.
you had to be a
one-on-one.
parent from
Yeah.
a very young age.
And it's hard. It's hard, you know.
Have you spoken
it's-
about that to her?
Good question. No.
That's not very Eastern European. We're like, we're good, don't worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's
very-
so now,
Yeah, I
like
know.
talking
No,
about
True.
it.
She's coming in 1 week, so maybe I'll sit down with her and be like, hey, can we talk?
Yeah.
you know? Especially because she's so far away.
Just
You
be,
just
just
don't
look at
really-
her and be like, let's just look at each other, like tell that story together. Like, how did that make her? That must have been. Could you imagine?
No,
Couldn't
especially
imagine.
now having a kid, you just look at things so differently,
You
and you
do.
just appreciate. You just understand what your parent went through that at that time, you know.
Yeah,
But kids need that.
that's so hard. But it was hard for you too to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
To grab.
But this is not about me, you guys.
Well, you have to
No.
go.
Yes.
You have to go. I would
that
love.
note.
I would love to give you a couple more questions, but
Or let's see what time is it real
it's
quick.
it's way past her dinner time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's
feel
yeah.
like
This is what happens. This is why I can't go anywhere because I really commit to stuff. Like I go all in,
I know.
and I could stay here
We're
with you
so
guys for like.
appreciative that you found time and you
I
came.
know. I
It
like.
means a
Thank you
lot.
for having me.
No, thank
I
you for
appreciate
being
you guys
here.
like having curiosity and interest into
Oh my gosh.
something.
We look up to you. Truly. But you were with your
Every time we
business
tried to
and-
start something, it was like, yeah, but look at Nicole.
No. Anytime, by the way, like I'm such a champion for women, especially women trying to do anything. Like if you guys want any advice or like help, whatever I can do
We
That
for
means
sure
a
with
will
lot.
business, for sure. Like
just
I'm
what you
definitely your
said,
girl.
Thank you so much. And just the fact when you said like you need surround yourself with people that are lifting you
Yeah.
up and
I know, like us
going-
today,
it's-
we're gonna give up on everything. Like I gave up.
Me and her.
She's like, babe, it's okay.
No, keep going.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And surround yourself with people that believe in what you believe in.
yeah.
Because like that's all you need. I sound like it's like a Willy Wonka thing, like just believe. Believe
Yeah.
and manifest. Like what you guys are doing
Exactly,
is
yeah.
awesome. And be yourself. Be yourself, because nobody else can be you.
Because nobody else.
You're so amazing.
Like the Oscars last night. She thought she has to be all these things, but all she had to be is her. If anyone watched the Oscars,
Yes, I did.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, babe.
Thanks,
Thank you, Nicole.